My name is David Clayton. My blog is thewayofbeauty.org, and I've also created a course called the Master of Sacred Art, a whole program that teaches the basis of Catholic culture with a special emphasis on visual art. And you can find that at www.pontifex.university. So that's thewayofbeauty.org, pontifex.university. Did you know that God commanded the use of graven images? You probably think, or some of you may think, I won't presume ignorance, some of you may think that that he commanded that we should not create graven images in the Ten Commandments. That's what I used to think anyway. But in fact, what he commanded was that people should not make graven idols. Graven just means made by hand. And so the images that people make should not be of false gods. And we tend to think that the Jewish faith was against images, and that if we read the Bible, then we should be too. I believe that's what Calvin thought, and that's why, particularly in the Protestant church, there is an emphasis against images in church. But in fact, the original Hebrew, is it, or Aramaic in which it's written, and then also the Greek translation of that in the Septuagint uses the word for idols, for an image made for worship of a false god. And why do we think this? Well, that's what the scripture scholars tell me, but also later on in the same chapter, he commanded that images should be made for use in the liturgy. 12 oxen, for example, the mercy seat with the cherubim. So he commanded the use of imagery. And furthermore, the church, in her wisdom, re-emphasized this when this sin of iconoclasm, the destruction of images in the church, arose. It was condemned by the church in the Seventh Ecumenical Council. And the point that the council made in 787, when this council concluded, was not that images were permitted, but really they are mandated within the liturgy. As Christians, we need images to direct our imagination from the sensible, in other words, those things perceived by the senses, to those things which are invisible. So through the image, our imagination takes a leap to the prototype. And not only does this direct us to the things portrayed and make them more real to us, it develops in us that facility for faith, for belief in things unseen based upon the witnesses of others, whether it's through scripture or through the evidence of images. My latest blog article goes into more detail on this. It's entitled A 3,000-Year-Old Newsflash, God Commanded the Use of Graven Images. You can find that at www.thewayofbeauty.org.